Podcast, episode 23, Engage. This is Optional Bosses. Kyle Neely.
Mark Bosdell.
Ryan Burnett.
I'm trying a new opening every single episode, and
that one was definitely the most ridiculous.
they're getting worse every single time.
I feel pretty engaged right now. I don't know.
I'd be like, I would disengage just as they
Are you? Yeah. All right. So some of us are engaged, some of us are disengaged, but we're all here, and we're gonna talk video games. And today specifically, and do not think that this is our Final Fantasy podcast. That's gonna be magnum opus, multiple episode, hour long, whatever. We'll have a special guest for that also and stuff like that. But today we are going to talk about the Final Fantasy specific things. One specific thing in particular, the new entry that just got announced.
13.
And then 13.3. What do y'all... First off, who here played 13? Who here played 13?
I played a little bit of 13.
You played 13? Okay, how many hours did you get into, Ryan?
I got to where the world opened up, so...
Cool, so hour like 30 or whatever.
Yeah. I got a pretty decent ways into that game.
Yeah, okay. I got about 24 hard hours into that game. And I don't mean like hard as in like the game was hard. It was just hard to get through because my interest level was none. It was 0 for this game. How many hours did you play, Mark? My bad, man. I didn't realize you were eating.
Not very much. I probably played like an hour and a half at most.
Okay, that's not much at all.
No.
Yeah. You already knew that it was bad right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've sat through you playing a lot of it.
That's true. Yeah.
And I've sat through my cousin playing a lot of it.
Worst names in any video game. Worst characters in any video game.
I'm sorry not to sound racist or sexist or anything. I just don't like playing as a woman.
I don't either, but that's kind of changed for me recently because I've been really into like really powerful like female characters lately. Yeah. We were just talking Lollipop Chainsaw the other day. Exactly. Bayonetta. But I wouldn't really choose them as strong women though because they're both like overly sexual sluts. Yeah. One's a little smarter demon from another universe as a witch, and one's just a stupid teenager who's just kind of a skank. Yeah, it's just
the day she turns 18, you're like
the day she turns 18. So everything that happens, we're talking about Lollipop Chainsaw again. Anything that happens that day is completely okay because it's legal. Anyways, wow. I hated everything about this game. I kind of liked what the story was doing. Like there were some things that were interesting or whatever, but I don't know. It wasn't really doing it for me. It didn't really capture me like any of the other ones did. So I gave up on that game. And then all of a sudden, 10.2's coming out. Okay. 13.2. Yeah, they're both equally as bad. So, well, I didn't play 2. Both equally as bad of an idea, let me say. You played 13.2. Neither of us did. What did you think about 13.2?
I thought 13.2 actually was better than 13. You see, the problem with 13...
the bar was set pretty low, so...
Yeah. And with 13, I just felt like, okay, none of what anybody's saying is making sense. Oh, I have to read tons and tons of text to even make sense of this game. And then there's actually a kind of good story. Mm-hmm. But by that point, I've already just kind of lost interest.
Yeah, I've already put 45 minutes into reading, and I've got no gameplay done.
Yeah, and then when I was playing 13.2, I was like, this is a cool concept. This is a cool cutscene. I'm liking the mechanics so far. But 13 was so bad that I care about none of these characters, so I can't continue playing 13.2 with any sort of interest or appeal.
Yeah.
Also, like 13.2, you're playing as like the weakest characters for like.
There's like the girl's little sister, right? The character everyone gave the least shit about.
He cared.
And they're time traveling and stuff, right?
The time travel was actually sort of cool because I think I didn't get too far into it before I traded the game in, but you're going to like the end of time
was
to
there
fight like an epic battle.
Was there a story? Or was it loosely put together scenes that could kind of like be played off of one another?
I think the basic premise of it from 13.2 was like at the end of 13, the main character just disappears after the final battle, and then at 13.2 she starts off with her in another dimension, and she's fighting demons, and it's like, you were the hero chosen, and just a whole bunch of like random stuff that comes out left field, you know? But it looked really, really visually appealing.
Yeah, it was colorful.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Maybe the Candy Kids can play that game.
What I liked about
That
13.2 is it had quick time events, but there was more than one right answer that would change the quick time. So, like, you're flying through the air, and you can either shoot or use your sword, and there was no right answer. It would just change the cutscene.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, interesting. That's weird, because they've never done, like, decision-making in Final Fantasy before. Or at least not to that kind of... I don't know, actually, I don't think ever before have they done, decision-making or anything like that. Interesting. With that being said, how much do you care about Final Fantasy 13-3?
Not at all.
Like, not even a little bit?
Well, I figured
it's about lightning.
Yeah, well, you see, here's the thing. I got 30 hours through 1, and then I quit. And I got about, like, less than half that of 2 before I realized I didn't care about the characters and quit. So, like, if I play this game, I'm gonna, like, get past the intro and then turn it off.
Right.
Like,
So there's no point
for
in
$60,
wasting
yeah. It's the most expensive intro sequence you've ever watched. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I could give a shit less about this game. This is kind of showing me on Square's side that they just don't know what they're doing anymore. They're like,
They lost it a lot.
maybe I know, but like at least they thought they knew what they were doing. But at this point, they can't even think that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, this game, no one really likes it. Maybe it sells like gangbusters in Japan, but like no one prefers it. I don't think anybody in Japan's like, oh yeah, 13's the best Final Fantasy out of all of them. You know what I mean? They may enjoy it, yeah, because like they're very traditional and they're very nationalist and they love their product, you know, I get that and everything.
Did people even like 12?
No, I mean people didn't like 12. I think
fucking awful.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah.
It's about as bad as Final Fantasy.
I would say probably 12 was probably worse than I would say wow. throwing down the gauntlets. I would say 12 was a little worse than 13, but both of them are not both of them are way worse than 7. 7 is not by any stretch of the imagination a bad game. It is
not my favorite.
way overloved. Like everyone loves it. You know, I don't know why everyone loves it.
I'm the only one who likes the materia system. Oh, I know so many people who hate it, but that was one of my favorite Final Fantasy systems.
I like the sphere grid.
Yeah.
A lot of people hated that.
Yeah, I don't like the sphere grid.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I really just like the draw system.
What was that in? Is that 8?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't like 8's combat system. I liked it. I didn't, love it, but I liked it.
I was definitely more intrigued by the story.
8 yeah, same here.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what got me. Me and 8 were talking about 8 the other day, and it was, we both were like, oh, this is the game that kind of got us into, oh, yeah, games have stories. This is part of games now. Every game should have this ridiculous story or whatever. But he also got talking into actually sitting down and replaying 9. So maybe
good.
Maybe
I thought
9.
I did that because I thought you said you were going to do. Well, great. You should play it.
Yeah. Well, that was really just for the sake of the podcast. But thanks. Good job, Mike.
You should play it because it's still a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try it out. I'll try 9 out again. He had me at the ending cutscene, which was it's just all the summons and sorcerers are fighting in this huge sky battle, and this is a huge.
Yeah.
I just can't take a protagonist in a vest seriously. It just doesn't.
Titus had a vest.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Ooh, it was.
Yeah. Titus had a vest
in a non-masculine frilly vest.
He was a pirate, man. It's but Victorian, where? What you don't like Victorian wear?
He wore a ribbon as well. I don't know many pirates who.
Well, he also had a tail and had cat ears.
You're not really arguing for the masculinity.
Yeah, that's for sure. I hate to be on Ryan's side, but I'll have to agree with that.
I don't know. I just don't see why it mattered. A lot of people complain, oh, this is some fucking kid. And, I mean, he was 16 or 17 in that game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just the same age as Titus.
It didn't help that he had cat ears, that's for sure. Well, I think that made him look a little younger.
I don't know, man. There's really
I'll try it again. Yeah, I'll try it again. That's the game I'm most skewed on. That's the game I'm most skewed on for my knowledge-wise, and that's also the game I played the least of before immediately judging it into banishment.
And the main bad guy's kind of cool, man.
That's what Abe said. He's very
he's very feminine.
That's exactly what Abe said.
It's just very Japanese. It's doesn't bother me at all. That's why I'm surprised the cat thing got a lot of people. It's hey, it's Japan.
Yeah, but
that's how they are.
I'm just used to at least my protagonist being Bamf.
Yeah.
Like, he was a BAMF, dude. This guy,
I didn't get far enough to see the BAMF thing.
And Steiner, who's like supposed to be your like strong, heavy tank mage, is just like this goofy comic relief. Like
I don't know.
All right, well this is
what I was wanting at the time.
Yeah. All right, well this is all good Final Fantasy topic. We can save this for like the big part. Yeah, exactly. Let's get back on rails here and talk about what can fix this series, guys. What can fix it? What's going to fix everything? Do y'all like this sci-fi thing that's going on right now?
No.
Do you think that this can blend well with the series? Or do you think they should... You think it can? Is that what you want out of the next one? Or you kind of want a more traditional fantasy?
Well, just my perception of the Final Fantasy world is that it's always been a mixture of like the past and
present.
Yeah, but this one specifically was future. You know what I mean? Like, you know, while that's true about Final Fantasy X, it could be argued that that's a very... Like, it's a very primitive civilization. Well, yeah, you know what I mean? Even though that they have, like, technology and stuff like that.
Well, if you think about airships, that's, like, not a good way to travel, you know? And as far as, like, even in 8, they had Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, like, I don't know, just the contrasting of they need to go back to all their old school ideas. Light and dark, everything was very... one-sided, and just those games are good, man.
I want to fight God at the end too, man.
Yeah,
that character, the character. It's called Final Fantasy. You know what I mean? This is the final moment where you're fighting the most powerful being in this existence right now. I mean, and you somehow, with your team, became as powerful as him throughout your adventure.
Or 12 even have Omega and Ultima weapon?
13, I think they all have like those special weapons. But 13, apparently, you fight like a big like robot at the end. Like you're not even fighting like
that
this.
at 9.
Oh, really?
Well, not at the end, but one of your summons is a ship that turns into like some flying.
Oh, a transformer.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
You summon Bumblebee. You summon Bumblebee to come help you.
But it's an airship.
Okay.
Slowbee.
I think that if they kind of go the route that they showed on that tech demo that they showed at E3, that was very different looking for them. It looked like an old throwback to old fantasy and stuff like that, and it still had that kind of like steam tech, you know, not steampunk, but you know, that kind of steam tech that they have in some of the past like Final Fantasy stuff like that. Not too futuristic. I'm not against it being futuristic or anything like that, but I think 13 got swallowed up in its own like, you know, setting, if you will. It was just like
and you see like and you get to learn when you play a little bit more of 13 that like there's like a few major metropolitan like centers, but like the rest of the world is like completely untamed wild wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of that, and you know, personally, what I think that the series really, really needs is to tell the story, a good engaging story, like.
Mm-hmm.
Through gameplay.
Yeah.
I never want to read that much to just understand about a universe again.
Same problem I had with oh my god, on that Odyssey game for the Xbox 360, Lost Odyssey. Same thing. I'm like, I'm really enjoying this, but like to get the story, I have to read a novel of fucking pages of small ass text on this. No, sorry, man. I was like, you could have just given it. You should at least read it to me. Or give it to me like with like cut together like, you know, pictures or cutscenes or something, like
split it up. You give it to me doses, something.
Right.
Jeez.
And even like in Mass Effect, there was a ton to read about Mass Effect.
I didn't read any of that.
But you didn't need to read.
No, they gave you enough information in the narrative that you were never. But if like you were like, oh wait, what was that like alien race again? Like I forget. Like what was their names and kind of where they come from? What's their stuff? You can look it up and it's there. It works as a real dossier.
Yeah, exactly. Which the way it should.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like, okay, well now
required reader.
Yeah, I have to read this to like literally know everything about this character, or anything rather.
Well, in my opinion, I think they need to go back to making. I think what they need to do to get old school fans invested in them again, maybe do a remake of something.
They already said they're not going to do remakes though. What would you want them to remake though?
Well, a lot of people would want them to remake 7.
Yeah.
I would want to remake 8.
Yeah.
Maybe even remake one of the older ones, but
remake
actually
4.
give a story.
4 had a really, really, really good story.
Yeah,
you wouldn't even have to. You wouldn't even have to rewrite 4.
That's the Dragon Knight one.
Yeah, with
right?
Cecil and
great story
yeah.
and Kefka.
Yeah, no,
that
that's
was
6.
Yeah,
Kefka's 6.
What was that bad guy's name? B. It started with a B. I think.
forgot what that fucking bad guy's name
Bell,
was.
Ball. No.
Well, I'm gonna just stop before everyone.
We embarrass
Yeah,
ourselves.
but seriously. But yeah, no, I think that 4 would be a really good for a remake. You know, but like, I mean, we're all deciding that turn-based works, right? We're not saying it to get away with turn-based. Like, keep the turn-based, keep the leveling.
Don't let the enemy attack me.
That's not the problem.
My fucking things. A lot of people don't mind that. I hate that.
Do what now?
I like the waiting system. Like, if I'm choosing what I'm gonna do, I don't need this fucker attacking me. You know, they change that up.
You don't like the real time turn based. Oh, I love that. That's my preferred. Yeah, I like it fast paced because
I prefer it that way, but that wasn't what killed it for me. Are you talking about for what? Killed what for what? I'm saying I prefer either the wait mode or the real time. I prefer wait mode, but like real time doesn't kill it for me.
Oh, it doesn't kill it for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I like both. I think they both have their merits because I also equally, as much as I like the where you're both going as fast as you can, I like it when there's a bar at the top that says who goes next. So you can pre-plan.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, so you can pre-plan like exactly when you're gonna like defend or when you're gonna power up.
Gaia was like
That's
that.
what. Yeah, I really like that about Radiant Historia because it was all about chaining your stuff and
or maybe waiting with this character and moving them down here where it's like 10 attacks in a row where you know it's going to take out that enemy.
Fuck yeah.
That game was great.
I loved it.
Play it if you haven't played it.
Yeah, Radiant Historia, DS, you probably pick it up for like $20 now.
Great.
I even probably wouldn't go back and play that. Yeah.
And you know what, something I was thinking that the Final Fantasies did really well that they didn't do in 13 as well is when you think about it, most of the Final Fantasies you start out as kind of a loner and you kind of build the relationships with all the other characters you meet.
She already had friends like everywhere,
right? In 13,
they're already established relationships,
right? And you're just like you're finding out about it, but you're not building these relationships.
Yeah,
you're kind of like an outside.
That's why observer, I like old school JRPGs, man. It's like you're as new to these other people as this character is to everyone else.
Yeah,
or Persona, where it's all about building relationships.
Right.
The theme of the game,
right. Well, yeah. I don't know if any of this is gonna reach any ears at Square Enix. I don't even think.
Sure they're listening.
Even if
I don't. Right now. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Square Enix.
Even if they are, they're not really gonna care.
Yeah, they're gonna definitely do their own thing. In a couple years, when we're all not playing Final Fantasy 13-4, we can have this podcast again. I am, however, keeping my head up for Final Fantasy Versus 13. Big Kingdom Hearts fan, so I'm a big fan of those developers. I have a feeling they can really do something good with this series. And from what I've seen of the gameplay so far, it does look very good. So Versus 13 may be the 13 we all want, but as far as any other 13, I could care less. And we are talking about a Final Fantasy 13-4 in a little while. I'm gonna stop this podcast. We're just gonna quit.
Right,
we're gonna quit. Yeah,
myself.
we're gonna quit. We're just gonna
be dead.
Yeah,
be retired.
Well, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna hang up the microphone, man. Fuck it. But on that note, we'll go ahead and get out of here. I cannot think of a clever sign out, so I'll just say, game on.
See you later.